Hey guys, I'm David Karamanis and I want to talk to you about a little project that I've just finished, turning plastic bottle caps into some cool orthotics. So this sort of journey started, I'm here in Mexico in a place called Irapuato, and I'm providing podiatry service as a volunteer to the passing migrants who are living on the streets at the moment. And a lot of them presenting with inflammation issues, and it's my job to help them with that problem. And there's various reasons why they have these inflammation issues. And I want to create some stability in their feet. I want to reduce the forces they're going through these soft tissues. So I started to think of ways I could do that. Limited in resources, meaning that I don't have enough funding to, buy the CAD program and a scanner and all that sort of stuff. And also timing issue. A lot of these migrants waiting for the train that they will jump on and leave the area. So I have to come up with a solution on the day. And so what I started to think about was how can I create a good product that's cheap and that's time effective. Thank you. And so what I did was we had a lot of donations with sandals. So I thought about using the sandal-like material to make art shapes. We grind them down into art shapes, and then I would make these little orthotics. Now I gave it to my girlfriend who had signs and symptoms of plantar fasciitis and medial sesamoiditis. She wore these. We went to Guatemala, we climbed 4 mountains, and she had no symptoms. So these helped a lot, which was very encouraging for me. When she came back here to Mexico, her symptoms returned. So for me, with high amounts of activity, these only last for 3 months. So I started to think about, well, how could I, produce something that's more effective? It's hard to sort of measure its effectiveness because I can't have a 6-week review because no one sticks around for 6 weeks. So that led me down to thinking, well, why don't I make orthotics like I did in Australia, polypropylene. To find a 3mm or 4mm, sheet of polypropylene was very hard. I can't actually find it. Financially, I don't have the budget to do that. So I started to think, well, HDPE plastic with a little 2 symbol. I watched YouTube videos of how to recycle that, and I gave it my attempt where I cut it into little pieces. Unfortunately, I don't have a machine that grinds it down to spicules like the professionals. So I had to cut it by hand and as best I could. And I put it in a glass oven tray and, to bake it at 180 degrees. And after an hour, it just wasn't melting well. So it stopped melting. So I turned it up and then it started to burn toxic fumes, which is obviously not what anyone wants. So it became unsafe. I took it out of the oven and the glass tray exploded in my face. Don't worry, I wasn't hurt. But it was a bit of a fail. So I sort of went away from that idea for a while until I watched another YouTube channel that talked about melting plastic bottle caps. And that's what I did. I got a sandwich press that had an even heatness. It doesn't burn because it doesn't go past 180 degrees. And because they're all the same sort of density, it melted equally. And I would just melt a slab of these bottle caps. And what I did was I got my girlfriend's foot and I casted her. I made a plaster cast, and then I made a positive plaster cast. And basically I put this plastic slab over the positive cast, and then I don't have a vacuum seal, but I had to use 2 towels and sort of rub in the arch and the heel cup. It was very hot and uncomfortable, but it worked. And that's how I produced these bad boys. And she's only been wearing them for about a week now, and her feet are a lot more comfortable, and she really likes these. So moving forward, to talk about sustainability in podiatry is something that is a topic that I haven't learnt much about when I was in university, or I don't really hear too many topics about recycling and things like that on social media. And I'd love to start that conversation around, well, I think something like this, especially I'm from Australia, but even other countries that are using plastics like 3D printing and things like that, you might not everyone might not jump to the idea of recycling plastic because of the time it takes to do it, and maybe the effort and things like that. But it could be as another eco-friendly option, because I know when I was in Australia, when I was working in a private clinic, polypropylene orthotics custom-made can be quite expensive. Not everyone has the access to that, and this could be like a middle class option where it's eco-friendly. People choose to have this orthotic because it's great for the environment and it can do the same thing. I'll wait for the tests, but hopefully it can do the same thing as a normal polypropylene orthotic. So that's where it would sort of fit into. That's where I'd love to go down that pathway and have that conversation, because this is the outcome of me doing this with limited resources. If to do this properly, you would collect a lot of similar density plastic, or just at least the same type of HDPE2, and you could grind it in a grinder, make little specules, melt it, and then you just press it. There'd be a machine that compresses it into a slab, and then that would be your plastic sheet. And how cool would it be if we could produce an effective product that would be impactful for people's lives, but also for the environment? So that's how I see podiatry in the future. I've also made a AFO, ankle foot orthotic, using this little plastic technique. Was it perfect? Definitely not. Was it effective? Yes. So I wanted to start that conversation now. If you're interested in what I do, on the work that I'm doing, you can follow me on Instagram or YouTube. I call myself The Traveling Pod. But that's all I have to say.